back to another episode of Girl, Why You Still Single? It's your host, Dion Chalette, and I am so excited to get into this next episode because this week I'm doing something a little different and something really special because on this Saturday, September 19th, me and my family, we are celebrating my mother's 60th birthday. And if you know me, you know that I take birthdays really serious. Why? Because ever since I can remember, my mother ensured that my birthdays were special. Even through her time of sickness, she ensured that she celebrated me. So every year for her birthday, I try to honor her in some special way. So this week, I am dedicating this episode to my mother for her 60th birthday. Let's just jump right into it. Being 30 years old when I lost my mother, it forced me to deal with so many different life issues. Taking you all back to December 2013 when me and my sisters had to make the decision to sign the papers for hospice. I felt so many different type of emotions going through my head. I felt helpless because all that I could remember was my mother being able to take care of me. And when it was my turn to do the same thing, I couldn't. There was no words I could say. There was no amount of money that could be paid out. There was no actions I could have made at that particular moment to change anything about her declining health. And I was forced to sit in it and accept the fact that, you know, my angel, my original fave, my everything was slowly losing her life. And the thing that kept playing over and over in my mind was that I had disappointed her, that I had failed her. And I wish there was more time for me to show her just how much I loved her. But the reality was that for the next 6 months, she would help me gain the peace through this entire situation. Just being able to take care of her hand and foot, being able to spend those precious moments with her. I can remember sitting up in her room, us watching some of her favorite TV shows, just being able to make her space comfortable by hanging pictures on the wall, by, you know, bringing her food, being able to feed her. Those memories helped me through that process. And one of the greatest rewards was every time I walked in the room, she had the biggest smile on her face. So just the other day, I was on the phone with my cousin Dominique, and we were just having some casual conversation, and she asked me, my shirt said, I had on the shirt that said, my mom was everything and then some to me. So she asked me how I was dealing with my mother's birthday coming up. And I began to reflect on how I could always remember my mother being so strong. She was a hard worker. She always provided for us. Even when I remember the times that we didn't have a whole lot of food, but she would eat less just to ensure that me and my sisters had enough food on our plate. She was always there, even when she was sick. Like, she never judged us through the things or the decisions that we made. She showed us that throughout everything, she was still our mother. And the one thing that really touched my heart when I was reflecting was I stated that I don't have a single bad memory of my mother. And as I thought through that, it brought tears to my eyes because I'm thinking, like, I was really hard down thinking, like, I could not remember one single bad memory or thought that I had of my mother. And I realized how blessed I was to have her in my life. She taught me so much. She taught me how to survive. She taught me how to never quit. She taught me that materialistic things are not important. she instilled in me the values that I have today, that I should always strive to be a good person in general. As I reflected back on how I didn't have any bad memories with her, I realized that a lot of women are not able to share that same story. They don't have that mother-daughter relationship that I was blessed with. They struggle with creating meaningful memories and relationships. So to have my mother's love still feel so genuine and real to this very day, like, that's a blessing all in itself. And I realized that I'm blessed because of the life that she lived. I'm blessed because of the person she decided to be. She was so sweet, humble, she was caring, she was providing, and most importantly, she showed us love, that godly love that, you know, we're always hearing about. And no, she was never married. No, she didn't have a degree, or we didn't live in a fancy house or drive fancy cars, but what she did have was God's love. And I realized that's so much greater than any accolade or any amount of money in this world. So just being able to put that in perspective, I realized that she was handpicked by God for my life. And without those experiences and without those memories, I would not be the type of woman I am today. Without her showing me how strong and determined she was to fight, to have a better life, to provide for her kids, and to just be a good person in general, I wouldn't be that same. I wouldn't be that type of person. I wouldn't have the relationships I do now. I wouldn't treat the people the way that I do now. I wouldn't have the outlook on life that I do now. And I so appreciate the relationship me and my mother had. So I know I have a few listeners who have lost a parent, and some of you, you know, may have went through a period where you have had issues with trying to accept the death. You're having issues with, you know, the grieving process, or you're just trying to find a place of peace. I want you to take a moment just to reflect on their life and how they made you a better person. So one thing that I like to do is I go out to the beach sometimes at sunset, and I have a little bottle of wine with me. I have my music, I take my journal, and I write. I use this time to write whatever comes to mind, whether it be a past memory of my mother, or even if it's just a letter to her, talking through some of the things that I have been recently going. And most times by the end of the night, or by the end of that sunset, I got my feet in the water, and I'm just dancing to the music and really enjoying that connection. Now, for those of you who still have your mothers here, do me a favor and cherish her. And I can hear some of you all saying, but she may do this, or she may be mean, or she may be impatient. I'm gonna say stop. I'm just gonna stop you right there, because I'm not saying that you need to move in with her, or that you need to spend every day with her. I'm just saying we must do our parts to rebuild relationships. Whether it be a mother-daughter, a daughter-mother, son-mother, tomorrow isn't promised. The last thing you don't want to be saying is that I wish I would have. Sometimes we have to take a look at how we can make a difference in those important relationships. Whether it be calling someone to, apologize for some of the things that we may have did or said. Sometimes our parents just want you to spend just some quality time with them. Dinner, movie. And I'm not saying that you have to go out to eat or go out for a movie. Slide by their house and really take that time just to be in company with them, so that they know that you love them, so that they know that they're valued. And we must remember that patience is virtue. Like, I know sometimes, our parents can be a little aggy, but we have to realize that, you know, it comes natural. And one day we're going to be those Aggie parents too. So I just want to give you all a thought to ponder this week. And it says, life is made up of special moments which make it worth living every day. But sometimes these same moments are missed due to stress and chaos of our everyday living. That's why we must slow down and remember how precious it is to be alive and to especially love one another. Happy 60th birthday to my angel, my mother, Edna. And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of